Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going on a seriously fascinating journey. A journey that actually proves you've been doing economics your entire life without even realizing it. Because every single day, you are an active participant in a massive invisible machine. And to show you exactly how this whole thing works, we're not going to look at confusing formulas or dense textbooks. No, we're going to look at your everyday choices.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. Why on earth does the exact same cup of coffee cost $2 in one cafe and $6 in another, even if it's literally the exact same beans? And here is the really wild part. People still willingly buy the $6 option, not just because they're rich and not because they don't care. Something much, much deeper is happening here.
Okay, let's dive right into this. You're basically choosing between just basic fuel or a premium experience. When you choose between these two options, it isn't just a simple, isolated purchase. You are actively participating in a massive system that decides prices, wages, rent, and so much more. Your daily choices literally dictate the world around you.
To understand why, let's jump into Section 1, the hidden cost of choice. We're going to cover some microeconomics basics here, and surprisingly, it doesn't actually start with money.
It actually starts with scarcity. You know the feeling, you've got limited time, limited money, and limited attention, right? But you have a practically unlimited number of things you'd love to do with them. Because you simply cannot have everything all at the exact same time, every single choice you make automatically creates a trade-off.
And that trade-off introduces us to a huge concept: opportunity cost. Think of it as the hidden sacrifice. Let's say you spend 2 hours watching videos. Well, that is 2 hours you are giving up. 2 hours you are not studying, not working, or let's be real, not sleeping. It's not just about what you choose, it's about what you surrender when you make that choice.
But why do you make the specific choices you do? Let's go back to that $6 coffee for a minute. Human decisions aren't perfect rational. When you pick something, your brain isn't just calculating the absolute cheapest option. It's asking what's going to make you feel better overall. That right there is utility. Humans are predictably emotional, and we make decisions based on the satisfaction we get, which, by the way, is exactly why marketing works so incredibly well. Moving right along to Section 2, how prices send signals. How do all of these individual, totally emotional choices magically transform into actual market prices?
Well, it all boils down to the classic tug-of-war, supply and demand. On one hand, you have how much people want something. On the other, how much is actually available to give them. Imagine a highly anticipated new sneaker drops. There are 1,000 pairs available, but 50,000 people want them. What happens? Buyers start competing. Demand vastly outpaces supply. And boom, the price spikes. It's simply the point where buyers and sellers finally find agreement.
Now, let's talk about elasticity. Because not everyone reacts to price hikes the same way. Ask yourself honestly right now, if the price of your daily coffee goes up by 10%, do you completely stop buying it, or do you just complain a little bit and buy it anyway? If your behavior doesn't change much, your demand isn't very sensitive. It's what we call inelastic.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute magic of the market. Prices are basically invisible instructions. Think about it. No single person is controlling this massive system. It organizes itself. If a price goes up, it instantly tells producers to make more and tells consumers to buy less. It's a self-organizing system that creates perfect incentives through these invisible signals.
Okay, let's flip the script away from you, the consumer. Welcome to Section 3, how companies compete, where we look at the firms and markets themselves.
So every business wants to make a profit, obviously. But here's the kicker. Profit isn't just the leftover cash in the register at the end of the day. It is a vital signal of adaptation. It literally tells a company if they are doing something people actually want. Firms constantly balance what it costs to produce something against what you are willing to pull out your wallet and pay for it. That space between cost and revenue completely dictates their survival, pushing them to lower costs and continuously innovate.
But hey, not all markets are created equal. The number of competitors completely dictates how much pricing power a company actually holds over you. At a farmer's market, which is perfect competition, if a seller raises prices, you just walk 10 feet to the next stall. No big deal. But in an oligopoly, like airlines or streaming services, a few big companies play a strategic game. If one raises prices, the others might just follow suit. And then you hit the absolute extreme end of the spectrum, a monopoly. This is when one single company controls almost everything, giving them massive pricing power simply because you, the consumer, have very few alternatives.
For example, back in August 2024, a U.S. federal court officially ruled that Google is a monopolist, holding over 90% of the general search market. That is a staggering amount of control.
So a massive, self-organizing system sounds pretty awesome, right? But what happens when this perfect system produces bad results? Let's get into Section 4, when the market fails.
To figure that out, we have to look at externalities. This is what happens when an action affects people who literally had nothing to do with the economic decision in the first place. Think about a factory producing goods. The company makes a profit, the buyer gets a cool product, but if that factory pumps pollution into the air, the whole community pays the cost. That's a negative externality. On the flip side, though, education is a positive externality. An educated person benefits all of society, not just themselves.
See, markets are absolutely fantastic at pricing private costs and private benefits, but they really struggle with shared costs. And this leads to some pretty uncomfortable market failures. Things like pollution, the outsized market power of monopolies, or simply buyers not having enough information to make good choices. All of these can cause the market to fail society as a whole. So who steps in to clean up the mess? Governments. But notice, they don't jump in to completely replace the markets, they step in to correct them using three main tools. They use taxes to discourage harmful behavior, like pollution. They use subsidies to encourage beneficial behavior, like switching to renewable energy. And they use regulations to set safety and competition rules. Though to be fair, government intervention is a tough balancing act. It can sometimes create its own unintended consequences.
Okay, let's pull this whole shebang together. It goes like this. Scarcity forces you to make choices. Those choices create trade-offs that shape demand. That demand meets supply to create prices. Those prices act as invisible signals sending instructions across the globe. And finally, firms react to those signals by competing, innovating, and trying to survive. Every tiny action you take cascades through this entire system.
So here's your biggest takeaway from all of this. The next time you look at a price tag, remember, it is not just a number. It's millions of decisions compressed into one single signal. You are a crucial part of this massive web of decisions, literally voting with every single dollar you spend.
But remember, this is just the launch pad, because if microeconomics explains all our individual decisions, it leaves us with one massive, profound question. What happens when millions of these individual decisions collide at the level of the entire global economy? Well, my friends, that brings us into the wider, wilder world of macroeconomics. Thanks for exploring with me today, and keep questioning the world around you.